All right, AFA Today from New York. Those of you watching on the AFA Today channel, you see the very cold version of Statue of Liberty and Ellis Island. All of that there on the screen. Yeah, it's just a blustery day today, and all that stuff that we had on our driveways and stuff the last 24 hours. It's not melting anytime soon because we're back in kind of a deep freeze mode. It's going to stay pretty messy for a little while. But glad to be with you today. Kevin McCullough is my name. The roads were clear enough. I was able to get here at least, and I'm happy to be able to spend this time with you because you deserve to know the truth. You deserve to know the absolute truth. And the absolute truth is the president lied to us, to you, to me, on Sunday night with Bill O'Reilly. He said that there wasn't any coordination. There wasn't any there wasn't any corruption. There wasn't anything that could be seen as being tawdry or inappropriate about the process by which the 501c4s at the IRS were targeted by the IRS, that it just happened to be a very weird series of coincidences. Well, I guess if you believe that, there's some swampland in Arizona for you, or seashore in Illinois or something. I fill in the blank. 888-589-8840. A couple more calls from you on this. Let's go to Shannon, who's with us from Missouri. Hi, Shannon. Welcome. You're on with Kevin McCullough. So glad you're with us.
Hey, God's blessings to you, Kevin.
Thank you, sir.
AFA. You guys are my favorite radio station. I listen to you all day long while I'm out here driving.
Well, you're my favorite listener, so there.
Well, I appreciate it.
Well, for right now, you are. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's fine. Hey, listen, our president, let me just kind of sum it all up. This is why I and my friends and my family donate to American Family Radio, okay? Because, number one, our president is a liar. And I know, Kevin, that it's not easy for you to go out there and say that, okay, because we definitely respect the office, okay? But the man himself, he is a liar, okay? He's not trustworthy. And let me tell you, he's got way more than a smidgen of dishonor in him, okay? This man is not fit to be president of our country, okay? We need to get somebody in there that's got some honor, that doesn't forget their roots, that comes from the grassroots, like Ted Cruz. Okay, I love the guy. You know, his dad worked hard to get him here and raise his family. We need somebody that was not raised with the silver spoon in their mouth and ran around Hawaii and went to the best school. You know, his grandmother obviously spoiled the man. Okay, he doesn't have integrity. We need somebody of integrity. God bless you.
Yeah, no argument with me on any of that. And I would be saying the same thing no matter what party the guy was from. It had a long discussion this morning with one of the icons of talk radio. I mean, and he's not a personality himself. He's a guy that's shaped the major talk radio voices, and he's had some input on me over the years. But I was saying, you got to have integrity. Integrity's got to be the core component of the process. If you don't have that, you're starting on faulty ground no matter who is in office. 888-589-8840. Let me roll one other thing into here. And guys, I'm going to use the Obama cut. This happened this morning at the National Prayer Breakfast in Washington, D.C. The president wanted to make this morning's National Prayer Breakfast focused on the need for religious freedom. I just wanted you to hear some of his remarks.
God's will. Today we profess the principles we know to be true. We believe that each of us is wonderfully made in the image of God. We therefore believe in the inherent dignity of every human being, dignity that no earthly power can take away. And central to that dignity is freedom of religion. The right of every person to practice their faith how they choose, to change their faith if they choose, or to practice no faith at all, and to do this free from persecution and fear. Our faith teaches us that in the face of suffering, we can't stand idly by, that we must be that good Samaritan. In Isaiah, we're told to do right, seek justice, and defend the oppressed. The Torah commands, know the feelings of the stranger, having yourselves been strangers in the land of Egypt. The Quran instructs, stand up firmly for justice. So history shows that nations that uphold the rights of their people, including the freedom of religion, are ultimately more just and more peaceful and more successful. Nations that do not uphold these rights sow the bitter seeds of instability and violence and extremism. So freedom of religion matters to our national security.
Okay. Shocking statement you're going to hear from the lips of Kevin McCullough here. I don't have any disagreement with almost everything that he said there. I actually believe that the tolerance that America has shown, particularly in the area of giving people religious freedom and allowing them to do what they need to do by way of practicing their own faith, I actually happen to believe that it has made America more prosperous. You know that a Christian culture, right, is the only one that really is inclusive and tolerant of other religions? See, he could not get up in the Middle East and make that kind of statement in a body of parliament in most of the Middle Eastern countries, Knesset, Congress, whatever. There's not you're not going to find that thinking that he was just describing taking root there. It happens uniquely in America, where the Judeo-Christian worldview that has been with us since our founding has caused us to become the great nation that we are. He did say something I want to draw attention to, though. He said, today we profess the principles we know to be true. We believe that each of us is wonderfully made in the image of God. Okay, I just realized I need to point out a couple of things. Number one, he doesn't honestly believe that, because when there were little babies struggling for breath and for life in the soiled utility closet of the hospital named Christ, run by his denomination in Chicago, he turned a blind eye to those babies. He didn't believe they were wonderfully made. And on 4 different occasions, he voted specifically, not vaguely or generally in part of some other omnibus legislation. He voted specifically 4 different times, chairing a committee that he chaired to take up the matter. He voted 4 times to authorize the starvation and neglect of those surviving babies. President Obama didn't believe that those babies were fearfully and wonderfully made, the way he says Americans profess that we believe each other is today. No, he believed that they were a life not worthy to be lived, which was a belief that Hitler held about certain types of people. The president believed that those babies who had survived abortions and were in the closet, the soiled utility closet at Christ Hospital in Oak Brook, Illinois, did not have the right to live. They had the right to die a dutiful death. But then he goes on in his speech today in that soundbite there. He said, we therefore believe in the inherent dignity of every human being. No, we don't. You can't explain 50 million dead children if you believe in the inherent dignity of every human being. He says, and central to that dignity is the freedom of religion, the right of every person to practice their faith how they choose. Really? Really, Mr. President? Because if I'm a baker in Oregon right now, and I believe that by me making a cake contributes to the passive allowance and acceptance and advancement of sexual unions that dishonor God, you're telling me, your Justice Department, your Eric Holder is telling me that I'm in some way a civil rights violator. You don't want me to practice my religion in whatever way I see fit. You want me to practice the type of religion that you want me to practice because you believe you're God. The right of every person to practice their faith how they choose, to change their faith if they choose. Really? Someone wants to leave the gay lifestyle. They give their life to Christ. They want to come out of that and take up a traditional. And you've got people on your staff, Mr. President, that claim that people that try to do that are, number one, self-hating, self-loathing haters. And that anybody who aids them in that journey is in some way a homophobe. So if I change my faith and I want to become more dedicated to Christ, I guess I'm left out of your little soliloquy today. Or to practice no faith at all? Or to do any of these things free from persecution and fear? Really? You're going to tell photographers in New Mexico that? You're going to tell bakers in the state of Oregon about that? How are you going to stand up for people when the sexual liberties movement is in a head-on collision with the right to practice your religious faith? You don't seem to be taking the side of religious freedom, Mr. President. You seem to be doing everything you can to bash the God of the universe. You seem to be doing everything you can to undermine his authority in people's lives. You seem to be doing everything you can to discredit the authority of the scriptures that millions of Christians look to for guidance in how they conduct their lives. Because it doesn't square up with your worldview or with the wine and cheese crew that you hang with around Washington and in the Beltway. For whatever reason, their intellect, their academic credentials, their ability to make an argument in a sophisticated way, for some reason, their opinions are weighted and graded as higher and more worthy of being listened to than the average person. But here's the problem, Mr. President. I don't work for you. I'm not your subject. You work for us. And our founding document says we can practice the faith of our convictions. Our founding document says that we can honor the God who made us. And yes, we have the right to do it free of persecution. The problem is, Mr. President, you're working to instill persecution against the majority of people that hold the view that the Bible is authoritative, and that runs counter to everything you said at the prayer breakfast this morning. Oh, lofty words. Great stuff, huh? No, they're empty. They're vain. They're useless because they're not founded on truth. Somebody had to say it. Why not me? Robert in Indiana. Glad you're with us on AFA Today, AFR Talk. Kevin McCullough, glad to have you here. Hi.
Hi. I just wanted to talk about prayer. Remember a couple of years ago when the National Day of Prayer was a prayer for our nation? Well, a couple weeks after that, we found out about all this really shady stuff that the administration was doing. And that's why I think it's important God commands us to pray for our nation, and if we don't, what's going to happen is we're going to have a whole bunch of shady stuff that's going to happen, and we're not going to know about it. So that's how we stay ahead of the game. We ask God to guide our nation in the direction he would like.
That's well said, Robert. That's well said. It's one of the reasons why we started Pray 2014. On this broadcast, every Monday, we give you a new focus to bathe your prayer life in. And we ask that you will labor in prayer every bit as much as you get anxious or worked up or worried about anything. Because I will promise you this, praying for your nation is far better than being angry about your nation. Now, it doesn't mean you're not going to get angry. It doesn't mean you're not going to point out inconsistencies. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't speak up for faithfulness in the marketplace and truth to be told as the citizen rulers of our nation. We're all Caesar. We owe it to our nation to make sure that we're holding our public leaders accountable. But Robert from Indiana is 110% right in saying that the solution's not, well, we got to get someone with an R after their name in the White House, then it all takes care of itself. No, that doesn't work either. Trust me, I'm coming to you from the belly of the news beast here in New York City. There's lots of people that think they're Republicans running around lower Manhattan here. They may believe in some low tax policies, but in terms of life and marriage and other things that have a moral or cultural or spiritual value to them, there's not a hill of beans difference from one to the next. Friends, what we're needing is revival. What we're needing is sharp thinkers that understand the lies that are being told, that tell the truth in spite of them, and then encourage us all to pursue clarity together. Friends, that's what we want to do every day. That's what I promise you I'll do, as long as I'm at this microphone. Every day I will come prepared to destroy confusion, amplify truth, and give you the benefit of learning how to think more clearly so that you can pursue clarity with your life. And I have this feeling that in the days to come, it's just going to get worse. So we need to be more unified. We need to be more together, and we need to be praying more than we ever have in the past. If you've not signed up for Pray2014.com, please do it. Go to Pray2014.com. You can listen there to a conversation between myself and Jim Cymbala as to why it was started and what we hope to accomplish over the course of this year. But, prayer is the first line of defense, restoring and taking our nation back. Pray2014.com is where you go for that, Pray2014.com. Listen, you want to get your finances right? AFAfoundation.net. Thank you to Diane for stopping by earlier. AFAfoundation.net. Be in touch with them today, too. Brian Fisher continues the winnable war next here on AFR Talk on Focal Point. I'm Kevin McCullough. We'll see you next time.